This is South 6th Street in Springfield. Used to be U.S. Route 66. In 1949, all this was farmland. But World War II was over and the country was booming. Ed Waldmire had a hunch that drive-in restaurants were the business to be in. But the star of his restaurant wasn't the hamburger or the French fry or the milkshake. The star of his restaurant was the Cozy Dog.
It was the first fair after the war. It was like one big party. A lot of young people had never been to a fair before. We had 2 fryers in this stand, and we made dogs from 10 o'clock in the morning until all night long, as fast as we could make them. I frequently make the joke you could have rolled up sawdust and dipped it in batter and sold it, but that's not true, of course. You had to have a product, but we didn't know whether people would really buy them or whether they'd like them or not. We were taken by surprise that they went over as well as they did.
Ed Waldmire opened his Cozy Dog Drive-In in Springfield on Route 66 in September 1950. He had the idea for what he called Krusty Kurrs as a board private stationed in Amarillo, Texas during World War II. He brought his idea back to the 1946 Illinois State Fair, and the rest was history, except for the name.
And my wife says, that's a horrible name for a hot dog on a stick. We'll call them, we figured out a whole bunch of names, Snuggle Puppies, Long Johns, Dip Dogs, Crazy Dogs, and she figured out the name Cozy Dog. And the whole scheme, as you'll see in maybe some of these pictures, it's the 2 young people in love, the one calls for another, the 2, because you're not supposed to buy 1, you buy 2. See, the 2 lovers and the trademark, which we have a copyright on that. Anyway, we made a lot of money at the fairgrounds, and from then on, that was 46 years ago, I've been at it ever since. And the first dog that was made with a pair of pliers like this.
But you never stopped promoting and showing?
No, still doing it. In fact, I wish I was 20 years younger. I'd go out promoting some more. Maybe I'd talk you into going into business.
Ed has been inventing, improving, patenting, franchising, and promoting the Cozy Dog ever since that first one. And the history of the Cozy Dog and Old Route 66 is told in a back room at the drive-in on what is now South 6th Street.
I'm proud of this because I spent 2 or 3 years of my life developing and working on these things, as well as the propaganda, the advertising, the whole program.
A cheeseburger, fries, chili, and what else? I think that's it, right?
That's it for now, yeah.
Okay.
It was all curb service or come in and sit down and you gave somebody your order. We were the first ones that had self-service. You come in and wait on yourself, no curb service. And most people in this town thought I was going to go broke. But people seemed to enjoy the idea of waiting on themselves. Coming up to the counter, getting their sandwich, then going to a makeup bar where they could put on onions and mustard and relish and ketchup and cucumbers and celery and whatever they wanted on their sandwich. They were on their own.
1 Cozy?
Yeah, 1
Small fry. Small Pepsi.
The Cozy Dog has always been a family affair, with Ed's wife Jenny, their 5 kids, and assorted relatives and friends helping out. When Ed decided to slow down, son Buzz took over.
We have 5 wonderful kids, and he was the only one that was really interested in the food business. And I put it up for sale about 16, 17 years ago. And I had a buyer for the place because I was wore out. I was 62 years old and had made millions of dogs, and I could afford to retire and take it easy, go out to pasture, so to speak. He said, well, he'd like to try it for 1 year. Now, this is about 17 years ago, and he's been trying it ever since.
That's why he's going to school, moving out of town.
He'd clean tables, wash dishes, draw drinks, take food to the counter. he was kind of a cute kid. Of course, any kid that's 5 years old is kind of cute. And then I paid him 2 cents a table for cleaning tables and a penny a fly for swatting flies. So we used to have a lot of flies in there. And just a few years ago, he confessed to me that when I wasn't aware of what he was doing, he opened the back door to let the flies in. And he'd pile them up on the corner of the table. When he'd get 25 flies there, he wanted a quarter. And I'd give him a quarter for the 25 flies. So he got started early in the game. Of course, then school started, and the school took him, and I couldn't work him in there any longer.
I think I sell a lot of cozy dogs because people know that we use a quality product. We use an Waldmire hot dog. We use all vegetable frying shortening. Most of the time, their food is always cooked fresh on order. So I don't, as opposed to getting that type of food at a carnival or a fair, we're one of the very few places that you can go on a full-time basis and get a cozy dog or a corn dog. You know, that's just, a lot of places have them on their menu, and what they have is a frozen product that they either stick in an oven or that's already pre-cooked, and they dip it back into the shortening and fry it again, and it's just not a quality product.
When I was little, my grandma and grandpa used to bring me here. We used to go to the lake, and they'd stop here, and we'd get cozy dog baskets to go. We've been eating here since I was a kid, like 6 years old, as far back as I can remember. There you go.
Hey, on the ball, it's trying to confuse me.
Lots of change there, huh?
Yeah,
To me.
don't forget all that.
Oh, that's not mine.
That's not yours?
That was there when I
That's
walked
my
in.
tip for the day, my 9-cent tip. There you go.
There you go.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Have a nice
you.
day.
You too.
The days of the independent operator are practically over. I've told Buzz that if he started from scratch to buy the place on South 6th Street, which is an acre of ground, and build it, you could hardly afford to do it unless you were a corporation.
7:30 at night.
I thought you closed at 4:30 for a while.
We did during January while I was out of town. That's all.
That's
We're
why,
open late.
'cause Alan come home and says, well, those guys are closed now, so we can't go across the
No,
county
no,
there now.
no.
So now you're
Smack
back
him
at
up.
7:30?
Smack him upside down.
Today, a young person starting out in business, whether it's a filling station or a restaurant, just can't finance it on their own unless they're born rich. And if you're born rich, what do you want to do frying hamburgers or making cozy dogs?
$4.51 if it's together.
I love people, and if you offered me a job in working in a restaurant making dogs for $10,000 a year and another job at $20,000 working in an office, I'd take the job making 10 selling a food product to the general public.
What?
Getting the picture taken.
Okay, Mother.
Sign a release on that?